Welcome to Red-Handed Crimes channel. Don't forget to subscribe. Every night, as the city slept, a small diner on the outskirts remained a beacon for the weary. It was here that she first saw him, a man with hollow eyes, worn clothes, and hands that trembled from hunger. Every night, she brought him a meal, never asking for anything in return. But one day, he left something behind. A note. And what it said would change everything. The waitress, Lila, wiping down the counter, notices the man enter, as he does every night. He hesitates before sitting down, and she walks over with a warm smile. Lila had worked at Grady's diner for years. She had seen faces come and go, but has stayed. The man, whom she only knew as Joe, never spoke much. He just nodded in gratitude when she placed a plate in front of him. A silent routine, night after night. Flashbacks show Lila sneaking extra food onto Joe's plate, smiling kindly as he eats. To Lila, kindness wasn't a transaction, it was instinct. She knew hardship, knew what it was like to feel invisible. So, when she saw Joe, she didn't see a stranger. She saw a person who needed help. And so, she helped. One night, Joe eats slower than usual. He seems nervous. He glances at Lila, as if wanting to say something, but doesn't. Instead, he pulls a piece of paper from his pocket, places it under his empty plate, and walks out. That night was different. Instead of a quiet nod, Joe left something behind, a single folded note. Lila almost didn't notice it, but when she did, her hands trembled as she unfolded the paper. And when she read the words, her heart stopped. The note reads, "Lila, I know who you are. I know what you did." Lila's hands shake as she rereads the note. The diner suddenly feels colder, the walls closing in. Fear coiled in her stomach. How could he know? Was this a cruel joke? Or worse, was Joe someone from her past? Flashback sequence of a younger Lila, running down a dim alley, a bloodied hand clutching a bag. Sirens wail in the distance. Years ago, Lila wasn't the kind-hearted waitress everyone knew. She had a past she buried deep, a past she never spoke about. But somehow, Joe knew. Lila steps outside the diner, scanning the empty street. Joe is gone. She rereads the note, now noticing a second line scribbled at the bottom, "Meet me at the pier. Midnight. Come alone." Lila had two choices: run, like she always did, or face the truth. The pier is desolate, waves lapping against the wood. Lila stands beneath a flickering streetlight. Footsteps approach. Joe emerges from the shadows. He wasn't just some homeless man. He was someone who had been watching. Waiting. And now, it was time for answers. Tension rises as Joe finally speaks. "You saved me, Lila. Now it's my turn to save you." A shocking revelation: Joe isn't a threat. He's a private investigator, hired to track down someone from Lila's past. The past she thought she had escaped. What Lila didn't know was that kindness has a way of coming full circle. Joe had been searching for her, but not to expose her. To protect her. Someone else was looking for her, too. And they weren't nearly as kind. A phone rings inside the diner. Lila hesitates before answering. On the other end, a voice she never thought she'd hear again whispers, "Found you." Lila's past had finally caught up to her. And this time, there was nowhere left to run. Sometimes, a simple act of kindness is more than just that. Sometimes, it's a thread, unraveling a much darker truth. The only question is, what happens when the past refuses to stay buried? Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.